Texas Governor Greg Abbott finally did it. He declared an invasion at the Texas southern border. I'm sure that the Biden administration went into a tizzy over this, but who gives a damn? Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so for 2 years now, Joe Biden has allowed over 5 million illegal aliens into the country that we know of. So take a look at the date there. It's August 16th of this year, 4.9 million. Now, at the rate of illegals that are coming over the border, which is what the Border Patrol and DHS has told us, it's over 5 million right now. The border states have complained. They have pleaded with the federal government to do something about their towns being overwhelmed with the number of illegals. Now, Abbott and other border governors started sending illegals from their overrun towns to left-wing sanctuary cities. It was a brilliant move. And that didn't go over too well for the sanctuary cities because the leaders, the Democrats who run those sanctuary cities, they were a bunch of two-faced liars who didn't want the illegals in their sanctuary cities anyway, and they booted them out just as quickly as they got there. A bunch of lying hypocrites, but we're supposed to believe that Americans just voted for all of that, right? So after the Texas governor realized that the Democrats just can't take a hint and that they are as lawless as Jesse James and Billy the Kid, Abbott proclaimed an invasion at the southern border on Tuesday and said that he would take, quote, extraordinary actions to keep our state and country safe. The governor wrote to county judges along the Texas-Mexico border on Monday, claiming that President Biden has abandoned his responsibility to enforce immigration laws, and Congress has refused to hold the president accountable and has abandoned its own responsibility to use the immigration power granted to it in Article 1, Section 8 of the United States Constitution. Now, Abbott invoked Texas Constitution Article 4, Section 7, which states that the governor, quote, shall have power to call forth the militia to execute the laws of the state, suppress insurrections, and repel invasions. Now, I know exactly what the Biden administration is going to argue on this case, and it's going to be the same thing that Barack Obama argued when Jan Brewer, then governor of Arizona, signed a bill that allowed Arizona law enforcement to bring illegal aliens that they captured to the federal building because Obama lied to the American people and said that the federal government just didn't have the resources to go after and seek out all these illegals. Okay? So he sued the state saying that only the federal government has authority on immigration. Well, Donald Trump proved inside of 6 months of his presidency that they were all friggin' liars, okay? And the argument to counter that is, yes, Article 1, Section 8 of the enumerated powers of the federal government does state that the Congress has the power over an uniform rule of naturalization. That means that the federal government has the power over immigration, okay? But what the Democrat judges missed back then in Arizona, and what we hopefully get a Trump judge to explain this time around, will be the argument that the Biden administration is breaking every single immigration law that we have by allowing illegals to come over our porous open border that is not the federal government doing its due diligence. And it's the duty to the country to enforce our immigration laws. They're just not doing it. They've dropped the ball intentionally. The invasion at our southern border is not an act of immigration. I mean, we know this because only the Congress can write and change laws, right? I just read it to you, okay? And as far as I know, the Congress has yet to create any new laws or change any laws to allow Joe Biden and Alejandro Mayorkas to do any of the criminal acts that they've been doing since they took office. As a result, Abbott stated that he intends to use his constitutional authority as well as other authorizations and executive orders. So he put out a tweet. Now, we have in our story the entire letter. Okay, you'll be able to read it there. I'll put the link down below. But here's a tweet that Abbott put out. He said, I invoke the invasion clauses of the U.S. and Texas Constitution to fully authorize Texas to take unprecedented measures to defend our state against an invasion. I'm using that constitutional authority and other authorization and executive orders to keep our state and country safe. God bless you, brother. So here's what he's going to do. Deploy the National Guard to safeguard our border and to repel and turn back immigrants trying to cross the border illegally. Sounds reasonable to me. Deploy the Texas Department of Public Safety to arrest and return the border immigrants who crossed illegally and deploy DPS to arrest illegal immigrants for criminal activity. Something the Biden administration is no longer doing. Designate Mexican drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. Think of all the fentanyl that's coming over here, the human trafficking, the child human trafficking. Apparently liberals don't care because they don't utter a word about this. Enter into a compact with other states to secure the border. Right on. Enter into agreements with foreign powers to enhance border security and provide resources for border counties to increase their efforts to respond to the border invasion. Folks, it was reported, I believe, by HHS about 3 months ago, because we did a story on this, that the Biden administration allowed over 40,000 illegal migrants with COVID to come into the country. These were illegals who tested positive for COVID. Now, while Biden was trying to force us all to take experimental medicine against our will, and Democrat governors and mayors gave us mask mandates, Biden allowed 40,000 illegal aliens into the country, knowing that they were positive with COVID. This is a demonic president who doesn't care about the well-being of the American people. And so a border governor who has already tried his damnedest to get the federal government to start doing their flippin' job and stopping the flow of illegals into the country, especially since they are overwhelming their small towns all across the border. So Governor Abbott is taking matters into his own hands, but he's using laws and tools that are legally at his disposal. Now, the idiots at CNN and MSNBC are absolutely going to trash Abbott for this. I don't think a single one of them live in a border town or ever did. These are the people who decried 14 illegal migrants being sent to Martha's Vineyard by Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida. And to support Governor Abbott's efforts, on Monday, the Hopkins County Commissioner's Court approved the proclamation of a local state of disaster in the county. According to the Hopkins County proclamation, the, quote, ongoing immigration crisis on the Texas border is not acceptable and has resulted in a security threat and humanitarian disaster with far-reaching ramifications for Hopkins County people. So there have been 5 million illegals that were allowed into the country since Biden took office. But this year alone, 2.76 million illegal aliens crossed the southern border into the United States. No other country in the world would do this. If you don't have a border, you don't have a country. And I don't know what the hell is so difficult about that the Democrats just can't understand it. Personally, I think they do understand it. I think they don't give a damn. I think it's all intentional. I think they want to get enough of them in here to change our culture, because if they give amnesty to 5 or 30 million illegals, they'll turn the United States into California overnight. The Hopkins County proclamation demanded that Abbott, quote, as commander-in-chief of the military forces of the state, declare the existence of an invasion on its border with Mexico and take necessary actions to preserve and protect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Texas. Wonderful. And that is exactly what Governor Abbott did. So the Biden administration, think about this, they are so woke that they had Karine Jean-Pierre telling us that the Trump administration completely screwed up our immigration laws. And they expect us to believe that. Do me a favor and leave some comments on this story and let me know what you think. I want to see who was for stopping the invasion into our country and who supports the invasion into our country. There is no in-between with this situation, so I'm going to put the link to this story down in the description. So please visit rpwmedia.com to read all of our stories. So that's it. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for spending time with us, and we will see you in the next one.